Alright, today we're going to be taking a look at Bally's Freedom Pinball Machine, one of the big three's bicentennial machines, the other of which being Gottlieb's Spirit of 76 and Williams's Liberty Bell. Bally's Freedom is oftentimes regarded as the best of the bicentennial machines, and put a game on here and we can see why. I've got 2 credits on there. Might as well coin it up for a 2-player game. Kicks the ball over, hit the start button again, add a second player, 2 lights up over there. That tells you how many players are in the game. And then we can give it a shot. 5,000 off the bat isn't bad. More drops. Player 2 up. The 3 bonus advance is really nice as well because it actually gives you 3,000 as well as the 3 bonus advances. Spinner's lit. Of course, finally in this video, I find out I have a bad bumper light socket. I saw that one flicker pretty bad. Oh, come on. We're fine. Damn. Player 2, ball 2. Come on now. Fine. Just got all the targets down. Oh, come on. Don't you do this to me. Damn. More target left. Come on now. Oh. Come on. I haven't let double bonus yet on either player. Probably should have been shooting the drops instead of my orbits. Come on. Spinner's lit. Oh, come on. Alright, almost got caught up to player 1. Alright, ball 4. Oh, both the 5,000s. That was really nice. I was about to say, yeah, it's gonna Yeah, double bonus. Only worth 4,000. Not the greatest. Oh, got it back finally. Damn. Right, last ball for player one. Already got 2 drops down. Might as well go for the drops. Oh, come on. Oh, got it. There's 5,000 bonus for all the drops down. Oh, dropping them a second time would have given extra ball and special. What a shame. Oh, give me the 500 in advance bonus. I thought it was going to give me either spinners or doubles. Ah, double bonus. There we go. Hey, and player one matched. You can see right up there, 20 and 20. So, yeah, that's freedom. Let me move the old tripod attempt over here. And we gotta do the illustrious. Oh, got it. Oh, that just broke. Hey, it's still recording. Sweet. So, I dropped my Dremel bucket. All right, take the glass out, and then you have to see the tripod that just fell over. Unfortunately, when I bought this machine, it turns out that this glass is wrong. Somebody replaced this with a playfield glass that's like short, kind of, if that makes sense. Like, for some reason, I can do this. It is just like, I don't know if it's 1/4 of an inch too short or 1/2 an inch too short on the sides. But yeah, it's a little bit of a pain to slide the glass in. Ignore that. That should be gone in like a little bit. I wonder how that's picking up over the phone. That probably is really annoying. So, with my 1 credit from my match, I can start a game here with the credit button on the front. Targets reset, kickouts go, ball kicks over. And since I'm out of credits, can't start any more games with the credit button. I now have to resort to using the coin switches, which I do have set up to 2 coins, 1 play. So that first one runs the motor, and then the second coin switch actually adds a credit. Run the motor, add a credit. Run the motor, add a credit. So now it's a 4-player game. Scoring on Freedom is relatively simple. You've got a couple 10-point contacts here. The 10s and the 100s always change the advance unit. Expect yours to be very, very worn down. The slingshots always score 10. Got a 10-point contact buried back here, here, and here. The bumpers always score 10. All the bumpers do. Your spinners score 10 per rotation on 5-ball play and 100 when lit. On 5-ball, the 1000 can never light. So I don't even have a bulb in those sockets because it's my personal belief that all EMs should be on 5-ball play, but that's just me. I also did move the rubbers a little bit higher down here just because I feel like without moving them higher, hold on, let me clean this up. There, that's better. Without moving them higher, you know, games might last a little long. I ended up putting black rubbers down here as well because the white ones I had were a little loose, and you can't afford to have the kicker arm go past the rubber, otherwise it gets stuck and can fry the coil very easily. Other than that, drops are 500 and add bonus. It only adds one bonus if you drop 2 at a time, because it can only keep track of 1 at a time. Getting them all down scores you a special. And same player shoots again. And if you get them down again 3 times 1 ball, which I haven't done yet, that gives you, endless specials at that point. Your wheel values, most important wheel values are your double bonus. And those wheel values get scored in the holes, up top to the right, or in your out lanes. Let's cycle it over to light spinners. So now my spinners are lit for 100 per rotation. See, that's why I feel like it's fair to only have it on 5-ball play as well, because 1,000 per rotation, that would have been like almost 40,000 points in one spin. So 40,000 points in one spin, that's a little atrocious. So that's the other thing. This target only serves to add 500 in advance bonus. Pretty useless. You've got 3 bonus advance, which I said was really good because it gives you 3,000 points and it counts the bonus up 3 times, which is really nice. The only other thing on the wheel here, I guess I haven't collected, the 5,000 just straight up awards 5,000, and your 500 in advance bonus advances the bonus once. So I can get a wheel value. This will be 15,000 times 2 for double bonus. This will be 30,000. I should end at, what is that? 57,000. Let's see it. Yep, counted correct. And my ball and play didn't advance because I got the shoot again from the drop targets. Then second player's up. They have to score something before it counts. Third player. Back to the first player. It is fun to watch all the score reels reset. I put a teal under here to kind of match the wheel and the birds down here. I only used 1 blue over here underneath the blue stars, and then 1 red and a cool white underneath the arch. I've seen people go crazy on Freedoms where they just add and add so much crud. And I'm just like, can we go somewhere in the middle? Can we have a couple blue LEDs and a couple red LEDs so we can have red, white, and blue? And I didn't want to add the LEDs under here. I got warm white underneath the red pops, and then God, my phone won't focus worth a damn. See, how far back do I have to go for it to make sense? About that far back. And lastly, your 4 advance. This scores 40 points. I would assume it has its own relay to score 40 points and advance the wheel 4 times. Why they decided to do that is just kind of beyond me. Maybe as it's bouncing back and forth slow in this area, maybe rolling over that is just, adds a little more character, I guess. But yeah, let's take a look at the underside of the field, see what we've got going on. My scorecard was set for 94,000 for a free game. Actually, let me hit this out hole switch. Let me advance it to player 4. Actually, player 3 I haven't seen either. I was gonna activate the 3rd player and 4th player 100,000 relays, which haven't been activated since I fixed the machine, so that should be interesting. I'm just gonna score constant 5,000s here. Gonna take a while. Halfway there. All right, so this one should give me my free game for 94. There it was. And then my 100,000 right here. My buzzer turns on, the over-the-top relay turns on, and it stays on until that blinker bulb turns off. You have to have a 455 blinker bulb in that relay and the delay relay. The delay relay is pretty much useless. You could probably snatch the one out of the delay relay just to use for over the top, because you will get 100,000 in this game. You may not, you know, be slam tilting the game to try and get a free credit. So let me advance to player 4 then. So now it's third player, 103,000. Let me get fourth player turned on just to make sure my relays work. Could have done this before filming a video, but whatever. That doesn't help much at all. I was trying to put my foot in the machine to see if I could dim the chimes. See, yeah, I did that last time too. I got like 92,000 on fourth player, and it buzzed at 90,000, but it didn't bring in the relay. Hasn't added a free game yet, I don't think. Yeah, that was my free game for 94. And now it turns on. Huh. Yeah, now it's on. So, huh. Buzzes a little prematurely on player 4. Who knows what that could even be. But the chances of anyone even encountering that are slim to none. And it doesn't affect the gameplay at all, because it still turns on the relay nonetheless. So yeah, what to say about this machine? Could go through what all the relays are. Oh yeah, this is important here. So, God, let me just, there. So these wires down here, this is what you have to have everything adjusted to for 2 coins, 1 play. This up here, this one down here, this one in the second position, and this orange-white wire right here. And then 5-ball play, you can see actually probably, if I light my spinners, hold on, where is light spinners? Hole here. My spinners are lit for 100. Let me take this jack out, put it over here. See, they turn off because I don't have a bulb in there, but that would be the 1,000 being lit. Look at that. I was like 1 replay. That was like 30,000 in a spinner hit. So, a little bit too much scoring for my tastes. But yeah. Changes the spinner and changes how much the balls play. That's all that jack does. You got your chimes there. You can unplug for easy removal of the chime unit. Got your fuses in there. I haven't even had to replace these holders. That's all right. Only other thing is don't have the schematics for this, so, if you do slam the game by hitting the slam switch, the delay relay comes on, and you can't add credits, you can't start a game until that delay relay turns off. So, no, I did not. No, it's not down. Oh, this one? Yeah, I guess so. I haven't used it in a while. How long are you gonna need it for?
I don't know, about 5 hours.
Shit. Okay, that's fine. I think they have one.
I'm hauling something down here.
Yeah, I think they have one at Vintage Oasis.
No, I don't need it. I was joking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. But, anyways. Got drop target switches. If your drops are having trouble falling down, you want to make sure they just graze past these switches on the back end. Hold on, there they are. Just graze past them. They close for a split second, then they fall down. And you might notice that this is really, really worn out. This is blasted out on this side. And then it's also even worsely blasted on this side. I don't know if you can even see. But I was able to, it was causing the drop targets to not fully reset. Like some of them would, sometimes they would all come up, but very rarely, you know, oftentimes one would still be left down, and it would just kind of be random which one it failed to bring up. So I was able to loosen these set screws and kind of adjust it to where even with all the wear, just me pushing up the coil will bring everything up. Just me pushing the coil plunger, the plunger part by hand, brings all the targets up. Adjusting it to be that way and changing where these set screws sit on both sides will allow you to kind of get away with not having to like weld this thing together or buy a new part. Because I mean, ever since doing that, every single time all the drops have come up. So, all set there. Got your ball count unit, got your player up unit. See your 0 position there. See your ball count there. The ball count's very obviously 0 position when the finger touches the last contact there. That's why I don't mark those. Otherwise, let's see. You've got the 2 coins, 3 plays. You've got your 3rd coin. You got your 2nd coin, shoot. You got your coin. You got your credit. You got your lock. You got your, oh, I can't hardly see these. Reset, delay, out hole, ball index. I'm just looking at the phone now at this point. I think that's tilt. Extra ball. Nah, I don't even know at this point. Thankfully, these pieces of paper never really go missing because they're trapped underneath the underneath there. Your biggest concern, your biggest cause for concern relay in this whole game is going to be this one. Every Bally of this vintage has this game interlock relay that has 1 position and then 2nd position. Kind of just turns the entire game on and off when it's in game over. So definitely need to take the whole thing off, clean and adjust all the switches, make sure they make and break properly. Otherwise, things aren't going to work at all. Rebuilt the flippers, really solid. Somebody had already replaced the bushing here at one point, but the screws were falling out of the bushing they replaced. So I put new screws in there with nylon lock nuts on the back end of them so they never fall out. Same for the coil stops. See the nylon nuts on the back end of the coil stops. I don't bother to do nylon lock nuts on the back end of the kind of bracket that holds the sleeve in, because when it comes to holding the sleeve in, this isn't getting much wear at all, and it makes it a lot easier to just leave these as normal screws. That way you can take the front of the sleeve off and slide the coil out the front, out the back, and you never even have to take the coil stop out, unless the actual stop physically fractures and breaks away from that. But yeah, it's kind of thinking ahead for other people doing maintenance in the future. One of these is for the yeah, there's your spinner on relay that turns on your 100 or your 1000. And then I think this is the wheel advance relay. Yeah, does your advance unit down there, just a continuous stepper. Definitely gonna probably need to rebuild that one, because my god, that gets pulsed every 10s, every 100s, and the spinners constantly pulse that. Like that's obnoxious the way they did that. Anyways, here's the blown out match unit as well. All of this was just parts I borrowed off of another match unit. You can see how bad the match unit was in this. Here's the original board. There you go. Yeah, let's get some light on this guy. Here we are. Look at how blown out that is. Holy moly. I've never seen a match unit this bad, but I mean, makes sense because the 100s and the 10s both pulse the match unit, and they've got spinners on this game. Not only that, but it fractured the plunger that pulls it in. Like, just, it was in 2 pieces. But the pieces were still together, and it was still in the housing, and it still tried to pulse because, I mean, the housing's built so solid that, you know, there's not really any room for it to fall out, even if it does break. So let's take the backdoor key out of here. head around to the back. I'm not sure how much of the back I can show you, but anyways, I have to get this machine moved to Vintage Oasis here on 50-cent play. So, as a result of that, I'm gonna need to haul it out anyway, so drag it out. You can see a view right here, you see all the action. I did tilt. What a shame. I want my money back. That's what everyone says when they play my horrible pinball machines that aren't repaired and they're so unreliable and oh, I just need work, and I'm just kidding. I fix them well. Anyways, in our back here, I don't know if our lights are still on. Yep. Still got third and fourth player 100,000. Fourth player 100,000 being way up here. Fourth, third, second, and first. That's got to be the least used relay in any machine ever. The fourth player 100,000. Oh, but it stays on constantly once it's on. So, got your knocker coil up here, slamming into the metal. You got your score reels. Got your match unit, so you can see which side, which board is the replacement board. That's for sure. Like you might be able to tell which one I kind of haphazardly threw in there. The other board was in like fine condition too. It was literally just this one. So yeah, every 10s and every 100s pulses that. Yeah, that's so obnoxious. Anyways, lastly, you've got your player unit back here. So now it's player 1 up, player 2 up, player 3 up, and player 4 up. You might need to increase the spring tension on this guy here. You don't necessarily have to go all the way around again to increase the spring tension. You can just change where it sits in the plastic ratcheting gear by a couple positions. But most importantly, on these style of units, you need to make sure that even when it's player 2 up right here, player 2 is up right now, you need to make sure that spring tension is tight enough to where when the reset coil pulses, it's still able to bring it back to the player 1 position. And you can kind of easily test this on most steppers by holding the reset coil in with your hand and then just trying to turn, which I probably won't be able to show you too easily. Oh, maybe not. Or maybe yes. There we are. So now hold the reset coil with your hand and just try turning the disc right here. You want to make sure that you can put it just barely ahead and it still resets. If it doesn't reset just with you barely moving it, you either need to tighten the spring tension or these fingers that are pushing into the board are too tight. You can take the whole unit off, kind of bend the fingers a little bit away from the board. You want the fingers to be pushing into the board at about the last like quarter of an inch that you put the disc back on. That's about how tight you want the fingers, because these fingers can be adjusted too tight, where I literally accidentally fucking hit. I went here, I went boom, and then I just fucking flicked the knocker switch. Jesus. I'm just saying, the fingers can be too tight up against the board to where it won't reset. So be wary of that. And also on these boards where you can adjust, if the finger's going too far or too short on the contact points because they just sit in there, your Phillips screw right here and your Phillips screw right there, you can loosen those and you can actually move the entire board forward and back. And that you want the fingers to rest exactly on those points as they're stepping up. You don't want the fingers to be between 2 points. That's going to cause multiple players to be up at a time and multiple scoring things to happen, and that's not great. The only other thing I would think, exclusively to this game, you got your match feature, you got your, I would assume this one is the, credit or extra ball adjustment for novelty and all that. The only other thing I did to this whole machine, you got your 10s, 100s, 1000s, number 1 score reset, which does shut up. I guess it went over the top. when I did the reset because it was still in the game. That's funny. The only other thing that is very common on these Bally games, if you don't have backbox lights on this vintage, oftentimes it's not actually the fuse holder. I mean, this is the vintage of really shitty fuse holders. You want to make sure your fuse holder down there is okay, but if you don't have backbox lights, a lot of times it is due to these really shitty Bally Jones plugs. And I'll show you the little trick that you can use to kind of rectify the Jones plugs being garbage. You just take the, before you plug them back in, you want to make sure you clean your prongs. Bally's especially clean the outside of them because that's what pushes in mostly, the outside ones. Clean the outside of the male end of the Jones plugs and then take your fingers and push right there. Push there, push there, push there. Just go up the whole peg. Do this with the game off or you'll really shock yourself probably. Just do that on all of these, all the plugs in the bottom, and then plug it back in. You'll notice how much more tension there is plugging these things back in after you do that. And that will often rectify not having backbox lights on this vintage because all of the general illumination that all the incandescents were going through just came through like one, yeah, right there. That brown wire right there. So like you can see, he's so loose I can spin him. I can spin him in his socket, the pin, because of how hot he would get. And that female end would also get, you know, so hot it would flange out. So you want to make sure you push them all together and you're all set there. The last thing I would mention is, for some reason, the third player down here, tens, hundreds, thousand, the third player thousands disc, after I cleaned all the score reels, everything functioned fine, but this one would sometimes stick. And it wasn't bad spring tension. It was, for some reason, the actual coil was magnetized to where when the game would pull it in, the plunger would go in and it would stay in. It wouldn't really come out until you hit the flippers, and then it would release, which was okay, kind of, but when it was up to the third player to add bonus, and it had to add all those thousands at once, you'd miss out on a lot of bonus points, and that's not great. So what I ended up doing was I took the coil stop out the back end, I took the plunger out the front end, and I took it over to the angle grinder, and I just filed away at the coil stop and the plunger and at the angle grinder, and that just removed all the residual magnetism that the coil had. So that one doesn't stick anymore, which is great. You definitely want to be filing the tops of these relays here in your tens and hundreds and thousands. With how much these relays get used, there may be, if you've got scores that kind of stick on every single player, not just a very specific player and a very specific reel, it's probably your tens, hundreds, or thousands relay that may be physically sticking in because this coil is magnetized, or more likely than not, just have a misadjusted switch. But yeah, that's that. Hope you enjoyed. Yeah, right here. To maintain trouble-free operating conditions, all stepping unit contact plates, rivet, and printed circuit should be cleaned and lubricated every 30 days. Use Bally special coin machine lubricant or equivalent light oil. I don't know what the hell that means. Anyways, that's Freedom for you. Hope you enjoyed this little breakdown, this little wonderful video on Freedom. And if you've got one of these machines yourself, I hope you repair it, because honestly, it's a pretty fun game. A local Nebraska, you should check out this one at Vintage Oasis. I mean, I'm hoping it's there at least a year, if not way longer than that. But yeah, it was a great deal down in. Bought this out of. Kid you not, it was called Cumming, Iowa. That's where I bought it out of. So yeah. Flip away.